A TV series' opening title sequence has a crucial role to play. It is an announcement that the show is on, a tension breaker for when the start of the episode gets to its first big dramatic moment, and a chance to hear a song that you now associate with the show. At its best, an opening title sequence becomes just as identifiable for the sequence itself than for the show for which it is attached to. Here's an example. You see, you can't even hear the opening, but I know everybody knows precisely what is being said. While opening title sequences have become a lost art in the United States, they are profitable enough to sell the full opening and ending songs as singles in Japan. Since I really don't have anything better to do, I'm going to rank the 9 openings for one of my favorite anime series, My Hero Academia. Why? Because I am not very smart. First, some ground rules. Rule number 1. The openings are judged on the sequence as a whole, the song, and the accompanying visuals, and how well I think they mesh. Rule number 2. Songs are being judged on the sections heard in the sequence itself. It doesn't matter if the second verse knocks my proverbial socks off. If it's not in the title sequence, it doesn't count. Rule number 3. While a ranking list is by its very nature subjective and entirely at the whims of whoever makes it, this is my video, so what I say is inherently superior by default. And with that out of the way, let's begin with number 9. Peace Sign by Kenshi Yonezu. No sense beating around the bush. I do not like this opening. It commits the cardinal sin of feeling like background noise from a strictly musical perspective. I forget I heard the song almost as soon as it ends, and nothing about it really sticks with me. The visuals, while nicely animated, an aspect of the opening present throughout all 9 of them, don't fare much better. The slow pace of the song's first half is visualized with a bizarrely large portion of the opening dedicated to various characters' calisthenics workouts, with a dose of heavy-handed symbolism tossed on the show too. The end result is a plot-in opening that will make you good friends with the fast-forward button. Number 8. Number 1 by Dish. Coming in at number 8 is the song Number 1. I'm positive this won't be confusing at all. In some ways, Number 1 is the sequel to Peace Sign, not only with some shots of a leap in Izuku watched by All Might being framed as a parallel to a leap in All Might watched by Izuku, but with how both arcs the openings are for our school-sanctioned test of skills, with this one highlighting how far the characters have come since the previous one. Musically, Number 1 is a significantly better song that fits the arc and, more importantly, the opening better. Still, it also suffers from a similarly slow build-up, but it is full of energy and a great listen once it kicks into gear. Where the opening falters is with the visuals. Not so much for what they do, but for what they don't. This arc is the first proper introduction that the audience gets to most of Hero Class 1B, so it's a bit of a shame that the opening for a friendly competition between the classes has Class B regulated to the designated villain's shot. It's a good opening, but it should have been better. Number 7. Make My Story by Lenny Code Fiction. Make My Story is an opening that thrives off of its visuals. They capture the overwhelming nature of the licensing exam with this shot that not so subtly implies that Zuko is on his own. It makes you identify with him as we're thrown at the major players from the other schools, teasing who will be the major threats of the arc, and making us excited to see them in action. As far as the song goes, it's fine. It's not my favorite, it's not my most hated. It's the first song on this list that doesn't have a slow build up before it gets interesting, which is a refreshing change of pace. It's a decent song, solid C. Good enough for college credit, good enough for me. Number 6. Polaris by Blue Count. And now we come across the first major surprise of this list. I would have expected this one to make it to the top 5 easily. Throughout this opening, there is a theme of time, starting with Izuku's outstretched hand going from a child to a middle schooler, and now as a hero in training. This ties directly into the 2 new major characters Izuku is introduced to in this arc. Sir Night-Eye, with his ability to see into the future, and Eri, with her rewind ability. The way Arc Villain Overhaul is presented makes him feel ominous and a major threat, giving him a different vibe from the series' typical crew of villains, two of which only have a brief blink and you'll miss it appearance in the sequence. Musically, the song fits the visuals the best we've seen on this list so far. It all comes together to make it an exciting opening that successfully builds the episode-to-episode anticipation for one of the series' best story arcs. Number 5. Sora ni Utaba by Amazarashi. Oh yeah, now we're getting to the good stuff. There are so many layers to what makes this one so good. First, there's a sequence with a worried Izuku turning towards Shoto, who turns towards an angry Ida, who has the reflection of his injured brother in his glasses, showing his tunnel vision against Stain. Speaking of, Stain just looks like an absolute beast in this. I haven't even mentioned the music yet. The opening has moments with several different emotions, particularly anger and sadness. The song just fits these moments perfectly without the song feeling confused or clashing with itself tonally. This could have easily been higher on the list, but all comes to jockeying for position. As good as this is, there are others I just enjoy slightly more. Number 4. Odd Future by Overworld. As we get closer and closer to the number 1 spot, figuring out exactly where everything falls into place becomes harder and harder to do. Nowhere was that more true than with this one right here. This opening is considered to be one of the more iconic ones from what I have seen, though less for the opening itself, which is honestly pretty great on its own, but more for the arc that is attached to. You know the one I'm talking about. The friendly competition between classes in the woods is interrupted by the villains attacking, with our hero facing off against a much stronger adversary, but in the end, the villains achieve their goal and make off with their target in their possession. Wait, hold on a second. Anyway. The opening boasts some stunning animation, making the visuals really pop. The moment of Shigaraki walking with the various Nomu wriggling all around him in the battle are the biggest highlights. Musically, the song is pretty low on my list of favorites. Still, the way they work in conjunction with the visuals is top tier, and their combination raises it to a highly enjoyable level. Number 3. Star Maker by Kana Boon. Well, here's the little opening that could. I did not expect this one to place so high on the list, and I'm willing to bet not many people did either. So here's why. The opening is a breath of fresh air. It is a light-hearted opening for an overall light-hearted arc, which is precisely what the series needed after the heavy nature of the overhaul arc. Seeing the class come together to prepare for their performance at the Culture Festival is nice, as is Jiro getting some decent focus as the class's resident songwriter. And speaking of songs, if this list was solely judged on the song, it would probably have placed even higher. It is a fun listen that really captures that slice of life feel that makes it so appealing to me. And if that's not your style, Angry Harmonica Bakugo. Need I say more? Number 2. Merry-Go-Round by Man with a Mission. I knew this one was special from the first time I saw it. I became enthralled by the song, not only for the song itself, but also for its use with the visuals. I've said this before in another video, but Season 5 has the series amid a paradigm shift, and the episodes that use this as the open is when the pendulum really begins to swing. Perhaps my favorite sequence in this is the small series of cuts, each no more than a few frames long, that teases key events that will be happening, and it's fun to get those teases and to see them fulfilled in the show. My biggest complaint with this opening is that the song was used a season too early. A few of the lyrics would have hit so much harder if it was used for season 6. And that is all I'm going to say about that. I'm trying to keep these videos anime only friendly after all. And number 1. The Day by Porno Graffiti. This is it. My absolute favorite opening title sequence that My Hero Academia has had so far. This is the opening that sold me on the show and Izuku as the protagonist. The moment this opening made me realize that the show was going to be something special was the sequence of a dejected-looking Izuku walking in the rain as all the hero notebooks he has made since he was a small child flash onto the screen. It was there that I completely understood Izuku as a character, and it has been a complete joy to see him develop as the show continues. Another aspect that I really like about this opening, especially as it is the very first opening, is that the audience probably isn't going to remember everyone's names, so the sequence actually introduces all the students in Izuku's class, literally flashing their names on the screen as they show up. The song is a fast-paced, rockin' song that makes you excited for what you're about to see. The visuals and music come together flawlessly, and even manage to tease a reveal that does not occur until late in Season 5. If I were to start to name every reason I think this opening is so great, it would take me hours to finish. So it is for all these reasons and more that I think The Day is My Hero Academia's best opening sequence. And there we have it. All 9 My Hero Academia openings ranked for your pleasure. So I really didn't plan for a way to end this, so why don't we just end things with a happy moral?
Like if you leave children behind, pay your child support on time.
Deadbeat dads are not cool!
Yeah!